Hi, third grade, it's Mrs. Parsons. I hope you had a great week. This week, we're gonna actually be starting a new project. So if you're not quite done with your family portrait projects, put those to the side and you can do them when you have some free time. But for today, we're gonna start with something new. So you are gonna need a piece of white drawing paper. If you have that packet of supplies that mom or dad or your adult picked up at school, there's white drawing paper in there for me. Please grab one of those. That's exactly why I sent it home. If you don't have that, just find a piece of white paper somewhere. Paper with outlines would be best, but if you can't find any with outlines, lined paper will work too. We're going to be working with one of my absolute favorite artists this week. We are going to be talking about Keith Haring. Keith Haring is an artist that grew up very close to us out in Kutztown, and he became very, very famous at a young age. He is what I think a lot of you would like because his art is very cartoony. So I have a YouTube video in this week's folder for you to watch to kind of get an idea of a little bit more about Keith Haring. But in the meantime, we're going to get started on our own Keith Haring project that we're going to do in the style of Keith Haring. So grab your paper, grab a pencil and eraser, and a black marker or a Sharpie if you have one, and we'll get started. So this is a little bit better picture of what we're going to be doing with Keith Haring for our project this week. This figure here is what Keith Haring would call his radiant baby figure. And I'm sure when you watch the YouTube video, you'll see a lot of that in there. This is one of his most well-known figures, along with the dancing dog, another one of his very well-known figures. But we're going to make our own radiant baby figure. And you can see mine's kind of doing some exercise or dancing. It depends on how you look at it. You don't need to make your radiant baby the same position I've made mine. If you want to put them with their arms up or their arms out, straight out, or their legs straight down, however you want to do it, make it your own. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. We are going to start with drawing that figure first. That's the very first step we need to do. So on your white paper, we want to make sure that we hold it vertical like an ice cream cone, not horizontal like a banana split. You want to hold it vertical like an ice cream cone. And the first thing we want to do is start by drawing the radiant baby's head. And you want to make it fairly big, not super duper big though. So I'm going to start with the head. And then I'm going to start with the shoulders here. So I'm just going to kind of go out in a straight line. I'm just going to make this figure the same as my example. But like I said, I'd love for you to make yours in a different position. Draw his shoulders. And then I'm going to go underneath here. And I want to see just about where his chest and stomach are going to be. So they're going to be right about there. Just kind of follow that out. Some little lines for under the arms. The arms are going to come down. And remember, this is supposed to be cartoony. So if it doesn't look completely like a person that you would see walking down the street, that's fine because it's not supposed to. So draw his arms coming down. And then for his hands, all we're going to do is kind of make this curved shape here. Almost reminds me of the bottom of a golf club. And then we need to go down and start making his legs. So they're going to come down underneath his hands. And that would be like his knees. And then they bend in here. The backs of his legs. And for the feet, we're going to be doing something very similar to what we did for the hands. That same kind of curved shape, almost like a golf club shape. Very easy. just like that. Then you want to take your black marker or your Sharpie. I'm just going to use a black marker. Before I start tracing everything, right now his head looks like it's kind of floating above the rest of his body. So I'm just going to make just 2 little lines here just to connect it to the shoulders so it looks a little more connected. Take that black marker, that black Sharpie, whichever you're using, and just trace your pencil lines. Once you have that totally traced, then you're going to want to take your eraser and erase all those little pencil lines that are still peeking out from under the marker. Once you have all of your lines that are pencil lines peeking out erased, you are just about done. All I want to talk to you about quickly is what kind of colors we're going to be using for this, because we are going to be using markers for this. We want it to be really bright. If you look at Keith Haring's artwork, his art was really bright and vibrant and very colorful, and we want ours to be too. So we're going to pick one category of colors. You're going to pick either warm colors or cool colors. Warm colors are colors that make you think of things that are hot, things that are warm. Think of the sun, think of lots of summer things. So red, orange, and yellow are considered our warm colors. Our cool colors are going to be things that make you think of cool things, cold things, ice, really cold items. So blue, purple, and green are going to be our cool colors. So you don't have to start coloring yet. Just start thinking about what colors you want to use, if you want to use warm colors or cool colors. We're not mixing them. So whichever category of color you want to use, you're going to be sticking with for the entire project. You can see on this one, I used cool colors. I do not have any red, orange, or yellow in here. It's all blue, purple, and green. So think about that till next time. Make sure you watch that little YouTube video about Keith Haring, and you'll be set. I hope you guys really enjoy this Keith Haring project. Like I said, he is one of my absolute favorite artists. And as the weeks progress that we keep working on this project, I will be showing you a little bit more about him. I have some stories about him, all kinds of things, because like I said, he's one of my favorites. So I hope you enjoy him as much as I do. I will see you next week. Just think about your warm color or cool color choice. We'll talk a little bit more about that and review it next week as well. Also, make sure you watch that YouTube video about Keith Haring. It will give you a little bit more of appreciation for all of that he's done for the art world and what a great artist he is. I will see you next week with more about Keith Haring.